As we mentioned before, Urban Vision made their bread and butter out of releasing ultra-violent OVAs that littered the anime landscape from the mid-80s to the early 90s. Now, you might think that that would have been a very, very niche market within a very, very niche market, but back then, it was totally feasible. For those who weren't around, anime here in the States were marketed in one of two ways: Saturday morning kids show, i.e. Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z, or edgelord trying too hard to piss off your parents' fodder, or outright porn. Check out this old advertisement for Ranma, for instance, calling it a, quote, hilarious martial arts sex comedy. Imagine if you were a 15-year-old boy in 1993. The concept of a martial arts sex comedy would blow your mind. Now imagine you're that same 15-year-old boy who just watched Ranma and realized that it's actually more of a martial arts romantic comedy. Maybe you'd be pissed, maybe you'd like the show anyway, but the point is that money was spent and Viz's marketing department did their job. On recollection, it just seemed that there was no middle ground in selling a show to teenage boys and men in their early 20s. It was all boobs, bullets, and blood. Sure, today anime is marketed using the same tried and true devices because sex has and always will sell, but even the stone-cold classics of the day had pull quotes that emphasized their adult themes, seemingly to deflect the wrongful and yet self-inflicted notion of animation being strictly for children. The first truly adult animation film to reach a level of literary and visual excellence. Jinro offers a violent but compelling vision of what an animated feature can be. In a way, Urban Vision was very admirable with their frankness about their releases. They knew what they were about, and they did not try to hide it. And what they were about were anime like Twilight of the Dark Master. Dark Master is a curious title, not so much for its content, but rather the circumstances surrounding its release. Unlike nearly every other anime we have covered here on Anime Abandoned, this was released here in the States first. Veterans Day, 1997. Japan wouldn't get it until January 21st, 1998. Sadly, my research has yielded no information as to why this is. Further, not only was this adapted from a Japanese manga, it was adapted by an American. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Dwayne Delamico, whose name I'm pretty sure I'm mispronouncing, the screenplay writer for Twilight of the Dark Master, and to my knowledge, the first American to write an actual honest-to-God anime. And I know that some of you might be thinking he just translated the script, but nope, he is first credited as screenplay writer, not translation. Yes, you hipsters, there was a guy who beat Anthony Weintraub and Tinkonkenkreep by nearly a decade. And he went on to write nothing else. Well, except for Road Rash 3D. Considering the near absolute zero amount of non-Japanese staff involved in anime production, this is actually quite the feat. If only the anime itself were better. While it doesn't take long for anyone to notice how well animated Twilight of the Dark Master is, it also doesn't take long to notice how bereft of a story it is either. Worse still, even if the animation is top-notch, most wouldn't be able to appreciate it because of how obnoxiously dark it is. I know it's called Twilight of the Dark Master, but must they be so literal? Sometimes it's darkest just before dawn. But man, that night can be so long. This is Twilight of the Dark Master. We begin with a couple of wannabe Clamp characters sharing a romantic moment as the man drops an engagement ring in the lady's cosmopolitan, when all of a sudden...
Angie!
Ladies, don't you just hate it when your husband-to-be transforms into a gigantic ogre and munches your arm off before leaping out of a multi-storied window? Been there, girlfriend! So, seems this world is one created by a goddess, who in turn created humans, and also demons, to help humans not to be such wusses. But then she realized she made the demons too OP, so then she creates the Guardians to protect the humans, thus negating the whole point of the demons. And we've only scratched the surface of just how boneheaded this setup is. But we'll get to the meat of it in due time. Meanwhile, Loverboy is on the loose and chows down on some police officers, which is the perfect chance for a grizzled vet to come in and lay it on thick.
P3, P4, P5, I need a response! P3, now!
Forget it. We're not gonna get a response from those guys. They're already dead. We need to shut the park down.
But it's summer and we rely on those tourism dollars. Oh, wait. Sorry. Wrong movie. Also, is this guy's cigarette banana flavored or did the painters swap the pallets for the paper and the filter? Anyway, through a series of impenetrably pitch-black shots, Loverboy is downed by a group of armored G-men, but in come some Vulcans to make demands.
You'll have to tell Mr. Takamiya.
Wait, we'll do as Mr. Takamiya wishes.
Kudo, I know Mr. Takamiya appreciates your cooperation. And your nightclub's really the most wonderful place. It can eat whatever it likes there.
That's true, Kudo. So many nice things to eat at your club.
Place your bets, folks! Are these two Doc Manhattan-talking demons siblings? Or lovers?
I wonder if... Did you kill him?
Oh, he's alive. You're bad. You fancy Fireboy, don't you?
You know me. I can't help myself. Just the thought of him ripped apart, sinking into a sea of his own blood, makes me wet. Brother of mine.
Trick question! Still, seeing your fiancé turn into a demon before he mauls your arm off can leave anyone dazed and confused, and yearning for your husband's murder, to the point where even a gun-toting crazed maniac can't shake you out of it. Luckily for the bride here, a luxurious-haired Tenchi saves her.
You're gonna be alright. That drink should warm you up. I hope you don't mind, but your clothes were soaking. So I've got them in the dryer.
Oh, Tenchi, what do you think you're doing?
And in a bit that I still can't believe happened, he then introduces her to the main character. Yeah, you thought she might have been the lead, but nope, it's this Revlon beefcake.
When I find him, I must kill him. I must kill him.
Rest assured, when I find him, I alone must be the one to kill him.
Look, sweetie, I know we're talking about your fiancé here, and I know you think you owe him an honor killing, but... Tell you what, I'm just gonna take this from you, and I'm gonna be putting it right there. Trust me, you're not gonna be needing it. Talk about a complete juke. You're set up to follow this woman's tale of revenge, but through a series of convoluted incidents, which I remind you involve a maniac gunman who is never brought up again, her title and main character has been unceremoniously stripped by this guy, so really, why did we even begin with the couple? And of course, it gets worse from here.
I can see into her heart. She's legitimate. Her energy is tortured, sad, conflicted. She must have been very close to the person before their transformation.
Yeah, she must have been his fiancée or something. But who gives a shit about that? So, after a pointless battle with the Lutece twins, complete with a destroyed skyscraper that I'm sure had no people in it, Revlon investigates the G-Man sex club, which looks like the kind of place that pipes in closer by 9-inch nails on a freaking loop. And all Revlon accomplishes is he showed the G-Man his hand, and he baits him into sending his Red Hulk goons in yet another dark as midnight scene.
I love fries, but they make me fat.
Alright, that fry line is damn near Shyamalan worthy.
I love fries, but they make me fat.
You know, hot dogs get a bad rap. They got a cool shape, they got protein. You like hot dogs, right?
Seems that Fry Man here is a cop, and Revlon has him check the pills that turn people into Hulks, but the Luteces head them off at the pass by taking out people we've never met before.
What's the name of this pharmaceutical firm?
Now, that's the kind of information that's gonna cost you.
Looks like I broke his heart.
Looks that way.
Who the hell are you two?
No! Not What's-His-Face and What's-His-Face! Those were my favorite What's-Their-Faces! And Revlon finds out about the pharmacy making drugs that turn people into demons anyway, and Fry Guy says they have enough information to arrest the head of the pharmaceutical company, even though there's never an attempt to actually arrest him. I've seen rubber balls with more of a point than this story. Oh, and what about the bride, I hear you ask? Well, ring your femme fatale alerts, because she gives Tenchi the old hot Cosby and gets him to inadvertently spill the beans. And she just gets her ass abducted.
Mr. Takamiya, while we prepare for Phase 2, I'd like to present you with some entertainment. This girl is the fiancée of our experimental subject, and I thought it might be nice for them to meet one last time tonight.
That's it! Her husband-to-be was just an unwitting test subject for their new demon drugs. He's just some unlucky schmo, and his dumbass fiancée got herself involved because of it. Tell me, why should I, or any of you for that matter, give one flying shit about anything that's going on? This plot has been so scattershot and aimless that any kind of through line or emotional focus has been completely lost. Quite honestly, this is one of the worst problems for me to criticize, because telling you all just how pointless the characters, the story, damn near everything in this anime is nothing compared to actually experiencing the annoyance from all the pointlessness. And would somebody just turn on a light? Look, before any of you say anything, I am well aware of how stark use of lighting can affect a shot. But the thing is, a good use of stark lighting also means making sure that the focus of the frame can be made out. Also, notice how these examples I'm using also have relatively simple actions, like one subject walking in one direction in the foreground, not an inhuman monster running around a dense forest, going back and forth between foreground and background. The fact that the dark setting is supposed to impart a foreboding mood is not lost on me, but if you literally cannot see what is going on, why should you bother trying to follow what's going on? This is just unheard of levels of not giving a fuck. Also, curious how this artistic decision means that they don't have to color in the backgrounds, or use backgrounds at all. So, surprising no one, the bride tries one last-ditch effort to kill Loverboy, but he's just too strong. However, his soul is still trapped inside and mourns what his beastly form has done. And it all has the emotional impact of a spitball. Sensing this, the anime quickly shifts to action as Revlon frags the Lutesses, but the heretofore president of the pharmaceutical company is now a towering Gamera clone with a throat vagina. And no, I don't believe the words coming out of my mouth either. I mean, you're gonna have to take my word for it since Censor Kaiser doesn't take no chances, but regardless, Revlon just kills Loverboy without much fanfare and goes off to face Gamera.
First row balcony seats and your performance, a masterpiece. Act 1, help the girl. Act 2, girl dies, demon dies, and the superfluous brother and sister act meet an untimely end. And now, Act 3, a fight to the death. That would certainly be a fitting climax and very theatrical, I'm sure.
Oh, now you're interested in narrative structure? Go fuck yourself, you smarmy dickhead anime. But hey, at the very least we can see, because there's light, at least that's something. So after an insufferable dialogue exchange where we find out that these two had a history in which Gamera killed Revlon's lady love some 30 years ago, which is information that might have been nice to know back at the beginning of this anime, instead of 5 minutes before this turd burger ends, Revlon finally doles out the harshness and kills Gamera. The end. This anime sucks! When it's not boring, it's confusing. When it's not confusing, it's just wasting your time. And when it's not doing that, it goes right back to being boring. This might be one of the most dull pieces of crap I've screened on the show. It is downright amazing how little you can get invested in this barely 45-minute OVA. And I should not be able to say that when your bad guy is Gamera with a throat vagina, for crying out loud! So, Urban Vision Month is nearly up, so what better time than to look at its very first release? Till next time.